Right, welcome back, everybody. Nice to have you with us. We're, of course, talking about what's happening in the world of West Bromwich Club Rugby. The current big activity is the SCORE, Western Bromwich Club Rugby Sevens. It's happening at City Park as we speak. Last week, or at least this weekend past, was, of course, the first of the series. 3 weeks to go. 30 teams from Western Province Rugby and 10 women's teams from Western Province Rugby. So 40 teams in total participating in the SCORE Sevens. Faisal, talk us a little bit through the women's teams. They, of course, get going this weekend coming.
Yep. So we've got about 10 teams participating, basically also different pools, and in looking towards the finals, which will also be the following week as well. So
yeah.
We've also, I think with the ladies, the one key thing is also we've allowed sort of mix of teams, because of the numbers and that there. But I think overall it's going to be, it'll be a fantastic day just to have those clubs present and playing.
Well, I was just about to ask you about that because last year we saw women playing, and I think the previous year as well. But you had the teams named, sort of like a region team where they were able to come. And looking this year, all the teams were named under a club name. It was Delft, it was Rocklands, Kales River, in other words, playing as teams.
No, correct, yeah. So I think the one great thing that happened this year was there's been a huge increase in the amount of clubs that we've had when it comes to women's rugby. So we had 19 clubs that participated in the league this year, and I must say all of them completed their matches, which is fantastic. The goal for next year is 22. So from the officer side, we've set those goals, together with the women's committee, trying to grow those numbers, trying to get it up to 22. I know the interest is growing, and I think especially after the ladies' performance at the World Cup, there's been a lot of interest. So I think also putting it out there, sevens is a nice opportunity. We've tried to encourage those that don't have the numbers maybe to participate in the sevens. And the other draw card is also the women's IPL next year, starting end of January.
Okay.
So there's at least planning and prep work being put in place now for women's, next year's IPL.
So this is getting stronger and stronger, and more clubs, Alistair, more and more clubs are bringing their women's teams on board, growing the structures, creating the opportunity, and that, of course, is a great way to bring on additional sponsors to invest in your club, not just in the club, but in both male and female structures, and the youth.
Yeah, and then participating in the sevens as well, not just the 15s. It gives them a further opportunity to reach out to sponsors. But it's key what you said there, Faisal, is the clubs who don't have the numbers, they can use this as a starting point, for participation and grow their numbers from there.
100%.
Okay, so you're saying if you've got a sevens team, it's easier to put a sevens team on the field than it is to put a 15 team on the field. All right, folks, Hamilton's was up against Peniel Village. We've got so many games. Hamilton's, Peniel Villages in Group E. Let's take a look. Nice to watch some of the action there. Hamilton's against Peniel Village. It was a draw for those two teams. They're, of course, playing in Pool E. Villages is sitting at number 1 on Pool E, then followed by Peniel Villages, then Hamilton's. We'll talk more about the logs in a second or so. Alistair, all right, let's talk a little bit about Sevens rugby here. Day 1 is always one of those days where you're still trying to find your feet.
Yeah, especially your first game.
Yeah.
You know, by game 2, you sort of settle. Game 3, you've seen some results. But the beauty of that game, of that we just watched now, is that you've got teams playing across leagues here. You know, on different sides of the Cape. Peniel, Hamilton's is on the coast. But yet you can watch a competitive game of sevens. You know, even though the 15s plays into two vast competitions. You know, there's space on the field, the skill sets are different. You know, so that's the beauty.
Peniel Villages here is just drew with Hamiltons.
Yeah.
The mighty Hamiltons. Faisal, but this is one of the things about the sevens, is it brings everybody together.
No, definitely. I think, I always say the playing fields are level. I mean, in the past, I think we've had even Whistling Wheels, beating Tigerberg and that. So I think, more space on the field. Some of these guys, I mean, are fast, So I think from a playing perspective, any of those teams can win on the day.
I must say, when we were at the draw, we took a look at the logs, at the draw at least. And I think it was where we saw Gardens and Tigerberg were in a pool together. And, Tigerberg, of course, brilliant sevens outfit, but Gardens has pulled one over them in the past. And we looked at that pool, we said, this is going to be an interesting pool. And just looking down at some of the results here, if I remember correctly, I think Gardens then did end up beating Tigerberg in day 1. But then, of course, we saw the likes of Morningstar coming back as well and having interesting. So there really is, like you said, an equal playing field scenario.
Yeah, it's equal. There's more space on the field. You know, if you have, no matter where you're playing, you can't buy speed. And if you have space and speed together, you're going to utilize.
So is it a question of you can make a mistake if you field your traditional 15s team on Saturday? Because the guys who don't have that size, they've got extra speed.
Yeah, they got speed. They're going to use the space on the field. Less contact.
All right. Well, talking about two teams that have definitely got some running rugby in them, Delft and Retreat went head to head. Let's take a look. Right, there we go, folks. Great to see the result there. Delft with a win over Retreat, running Rugby, 29 points to 5. We're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll speak to Faisal Felton a little bit more about the event itself. You can buy your tickets, of course, online at Quicket, but there's lots of activity. So this is the place that you have to be this coming Saturday. Don't go away, back in a sec.